Okay. So the same sum from compound interest formula. Here, principal is 6,000 rupees. Let's write 6,000 only instead of principal is 6,000 rupees, right? Invested at the rate of 10% per annum, right? And it is invested for 2 years. That means n time is equal to 2. Okay. Let's put it in the compound interest formula. Therefore, amount after 2 years. After 2 years. Let's say A is equal to, put it in the compound interest formula. Principal P is 6,000 into 1 plus rate is 10 divided by 100 and n is 2. Okay. Now let's calculate this. How to calculate? 6,000, and what you'll do is within the bracket, first you will calculate first you will cancel out 10 from the numerator and denominator. So you are left with 1 plus 1 by 10 square, right? 6,000, and then you will take the LCM within the bracket. LCM is 10. You get 10 plus 1 square. Okay. Next, you'll get 6,000, and 10 plus 1 by 10 is 11 by 10 square. Okay. And this is the same as 11 by 10 square is the same as 11 by 10 into 11 by 10, right? So this cancels. So you get 11 into 60 into 60. So you get 60 into 11 into 11. Okay. So you get
6,000.
okay. So you get 13,260. Oh, wait, just give me a minute. Okay, so we are getting 60 into 11 into 11 is 7,260. But this is the amount that we have. We will get after investing 6,000 for 2 years. So therefore, what should be the compound interest? Therefore, compound interest after 2 years is equal to amount minus principal. Amount is 7,260 minus principal is 6,000. So get 1,260. This is the compound interest. Okay. Any question here on the application of the formula? Okay. Then we'll move on to the next sum. But remember, this exercise, this is this problem. I just solved this from this formula just to show you. Okay. All the problems from this exercise I'll be doing by simple interest formula. Okay. Whatever 2 or 3 problems that I'll be doing from this exercise, I'll be doing this from simple interest formula. Okay. So let's proceed with the next problem. The next problem which I want to do is number 3. Number 3, the problem states Jacob invests rupees 12,000 for 3 years at 10% per annum. Calculate the amount and the compound interest that Jacob will get after 3 years. So the investment is for 3 years. So for each year, you will have to calculate the interest, okay? Because you're using the simple interest formula. So we calculate for the first year. For the first year. Okay. Principal is 12,000 rupees. Time is T. Time is 1 year because you're only calculating for the first year. And the rate of interest is 10. Right? So therefore, interest for the first year PRT by 100, 12,000 into 10 into 1 by 100, which cancels. So you get how much? 1200 rupees as interest for the first year. Therefore, if you're getting interest for the first, how about the second year? Okay, let's write the amount. Okay, amount at the end of first year. What should be the amount at the end of first year? Should be the principal plus interest, right? 12,000 plus 1,200, which is 13,200. This is the amount at the end of first year. Okay, so at the beginning of first year, he invested 12,000, and if suppose if he withdraws at the end of first year, he will get 13,200. Okay, but he is not withdrawing at the end of first year, he is withdrawing at the end of third year. So now first year ends. Now we'll calculate for the second year. For the second year, principal becomes the amount for last year, right? Yeah, what is the amount for the last year? 13,200. So for the second year, this becomes the principal. Time is 1 year because we are only calculating for the second year. Rate is again 10%. Interest for the second year. PRT by 100. Now put the values. Principal here is 13,200. Rate here is 10% and time here is 1. Okay, so you cancel 1 0 and you cancel 1 0 here. So you get rupees 1,320 as your interest for the second year. So what should be the amount? Therefore, amount at the end of second year. It is the principal at the beginning of the second year, 13,200, plus the interest, right? At the end of second year. This should be 14,520. Okay. This is the amount that you will get after the end of second year. But Jacob invests for 3 years, right? So we'll have to also have to calculate for the third year. For the third year. Principal is 14,520. Time is 1 year. Rate is 10%. Okay. The principal at the end of second year becomes the principal at the beginning of third year. Now we'll calculate the interest for the third year. Principal is 14,520. Rate is 10. Time is 1 by 100. You can cancel. You get the interest as 1,452. So therefore, amount at the end of third year. That is the question here. What is the amount at the end of third year? It is principal here 14,520 plus the interest, right? So you get 14,665. This is the amount. But they've also asked you find the amount and the compound interest. So amount, this is your amount. So there, hence, what is the compound interest at the end of third year? It is equal to the amount minus principal. Amount we have got as at the end of third year, amount is 14,665. And the principal, the initial principal that we had invested was, Jacob had invested was 12,000 rupees. So minus 12,000. So the total compound interest that you are getting here is 2,665. Okay. Now, if you want to use compound interest formula for this, see how easily we can do this. The compound interest formula is amount is equal to principal into 1 plus r by 100 to the power of n, right? Put the values. Initially, the principal was 12,000 rupees. This one at the beginning, 12,000 rupees into 1 plus rate was 10%, right? And he had invested for 3 years. So this is 12,000, and you can cancel 1 0 here. So you get 1 plus 1 by 10 cube. Now you take the LCM within the bracket. Get 12,000 into 11 by 10 cube, which is 12,000 into 11 by 10 cube means 11 by 10 multiplied thrice, right? So 3 zeros cancel from here, right? So you simply get 12 into 11 into 11 into 11, right? So this should come out to be is 14,000. Okay, this there's a small mistake here, I think.
Sir, you
14,000.
have calculated wrong amount.
Yes, yes, the totaling is wrong.
It will be 15,972.
Yes, 15,970. This should be 15,972. Okay, this is just an addition mistake. So here the compound interest will also change. 15,972 minus 12,000 will give you 5,900. Not 5,000, 3,000. 3,972. Okay, so here when we are using the compound interest formula, you're getting 12 into 11 into 11, which is must be equal to, you will see that if you multiply, you will get 15,972.
Yes, sir.
See,
Yes, sir.
to
15,972.
arrive at this figure, see if when you are using the simple interest formula, to arrive at this figure, we had to calculate the interest for the first year, for the second year, and for the third year, and then we got the amount, right? But when you're using the compound interest formula, see, only doing these two steps, we are uh, directly getting the amount, right? So therefore, if you want to calculate the compound interest, you could from the amount you can calculate 15,972 minus 12,000. So just as earlier, you're getting 3,972. Okay. The simple interest formula takes a longer time to calculate, and compound interest formula you can do it in 2 lines. Okay. So let's do another sum. It's to number 6 now.
So the number of years will be the root, sir, the square root or the cube root.
Yes, number of root will be the power. Okay. Number of years,
Okay, sir.
which it will be the power n in compound interest formula.
Okay, sir. So like if it's 5 years, the power would be 5.
Yes, if it is 5 years, the power would be 5. And if it is say 5 years, 6 months, or 5 years, 3 months, then I'll show you what to do. Okay. But after this exercise.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, number 6. Calculate the amount and the compound interest on 5,000 in 2 years when the rate of interest for successive years is 6% and 8% respectively. That means now first year interest rate is different, second year interest rate is different. Every year, what was happening? In the first year, if you had rate 10%, then in the second year, you also had the rate, same rate, right? Till now, we have done this. And even for third year and so on, rate was remaining the same for all the years, isn't it? But what if the rate changes for each year? Suppose in the first year, the rate is, let's say 10%, second year, the rate is 8%, and the third year, the rate is 7%. Then how will you calculate? Then in this case, again, we'll be calculating yearly. Okay. So this is one such problem in which the rate is different for each year. Okay. So let's calculate for the first year. For the first year. Okay. If you see, you have to calculate the amount and the compound interest. For the first year, if you see, principal is 5,000 rupees because that is initially how much the person was investing. Okay. And time will be 1 year because you're only calculating for the first year. And the rate for the first year, if you see, it is given here 6% and 8% respectively. Okay. So for the first year, the rate is 6%. So interest for the first year is equal to ERT by 100, 5,000 into 6 into 1 by 100. Okay, so this becomes 300. Therefore, what is the amount at the end of first year?
Sir, 5,300.
Yes,
5,300.
it is 5,000 plus the interest that you get. 5,300. Okay. Now for the second year. For the second year, what should be your principal?
Sir, 5,300.
Yes, 5,300. That which is the amount at the end of first year. Time is again 1 year because we are calculating for single year, second year. And the rate for the second year, if you see, is not 6%, but in fact, the rate here is given to be 8%. Okay. So interest for the second year. PRT by 100. So 5,300 into 8 into 1 divided by 100. So you're getting interest as 53 into 8.
It will be 424.
424. Okay. So that therefore, what is the amount at the end of second year?
5,724.
It is the principal at the end of first year, 5,300 plus the interest at the end of second year. So this is 5,724 rupees. This is the amount. Okay. And what is the compound interest? Compound interest at the end of 2 years. Is equal to 5,724, which is the amount at the end of 2 years minus the initial principal was 5,000, which is equal to, so what is the interest that you are getting in total? 724 rupees compound interest. Okay. Now this sum you can also do by compound interest formula, but we change the compound interest formula a little. Um, Perhaps I will not do by compound interest formula right now, okay, because the formula needs a little change. Once I start
Sir,
the
in exam,
Hmm.
sir, in exam, we can do any of the formulas from any of the formulas.
any.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
So uh, now in we can this sum can also be done by compound interest formula, but compound interest formula needs to be modified a little. And because you have not done compound interest formula yet, so I will not explain this to you with the help of compound interest formula right now. Okay, maybe once I start compound interest formula, I will show you this how to do this sum with the help of compound interest formula or a similar sum. If it is there in the next exercise, I will show you how to do this sum by compound interest formula. Okay. Okay, so let's work out the last sum from this exercise, number 7. Calculate the difference between compound interest and simple interest on 20,000 in 2 years at 8%. So the question is, you need to calculate what is the difference between, suppose that this 20,000 rupee that they have given, suppose one friend of yours has invested in this 20,000 at simple interest, okay, at 8% and for 2 years. But you, what you did was this same 20,000 you also had, and you invested it instead of investing in simple interest, you invested at compound interest for 2 years. Okay. So what is the difference between the interest that you get? That means your what is the difference between the interest that you and your friend got? Okay. So suppose your friend got 90 rupees and you got an interest of 100 rupees. So what is the difference? 10 rupees. That is the question. So what is the difference between the interest that you and your friend got? Okay. So we'll have two cases. So case one is when 20,000 rupees is invested at simple interest. Then what happens? Okay. So in this case, principal is 20,000. Rate, if you see, is given to be 8%, and time is 2 years for which it is invested. Therefore, simple interest that your friend gets is PRT by 100, right? So how much this should be? 3,200,
3,200.
right? This is the interest that your friend is getting because he has invested at simple interest. Now let's calculate the compound interest, for which you had invested. So when 20,000 is invested at compound interest, then what happens? Okay. So here because we are calculating for because you had invested for 2 years, we calculate for both the years. So for the first year, principal is 20,000, rate is 8%, time is 1 year because you are investing for 1 year. So interest at the end of first year, PRT by 100. So 20,000 into R into T by 100. So you have got rupees 1,600.
1,600.
So therefore, what is the amount at the end of first year? Amount at the end of first year is 20,000 plus 1,600, which is 21,600. Okay. Next, we'll calculate for the second year. Principal is at the end of first year, what is the amount? 21,600. So this becomes your principal for the second year. Rate is 8%. and time is 1 year because we are only calculating for the second year. So interest at the end of second year, 21,600 into R into T by 100. So this will give you 216 into 8. And 216 into 8 should be how much? 1,728. Okay, so amount at the end of second year
23,328.
is principal at the beginning of first year
23,328.
plus 1,728, which is
23,328.
yes 23,328. Okay, this is the amount. So what should be the compound interest at the end of 2 years? Amount minus principal. The final amount is how much? 23,328. And what is the initial principal? Initial principal was 20,000. So the total compound interest that you are getting is 3,328. Now in the question they have asked you, you are getting an interest of 3,328 and your friend who had invested at simple interest, he is getting an interest of 32,200. Now in the question they have asked you, what is the difference between that? So therefore difference between the simple interest and compound interest is difference between CI and SI is how much? 3,328 minus, and in case of simple interest, how much interest were you getting? 3,200. 3,200. Okay, so you are getting 128 more as interest. So who is a better investor? You or your friend? Who is a better investor? You have got an interest of 3,328. Your friend has got an interest of 3,200.
Sir,
Who,
sir, I am the best
yes,
investor.
you are the better investor because you are getting a
Yes,
higher
sir.
interest rate here. Okay, so
Yes,
which
sir.
actually means that you, whenever an option is given, suppose if I give you two options, that whether you should invest in simple interest or compound interest, your option will should always be compound interest because the returns in case of compound interest is higher. Okay, so I'll stop here.